Hello everyone and welcome to my new channel, Mini Bike Addiction. This channel, we're mostly just going to be talking about old mini bikes. Random videos, just going to try to have fun with it. This right here is a 1972 Sears Roper mini bike. You would have most likely bought this out of a Sears catalog back in the day. They had a whole bunch of different versions of this same bike. This happens to be the torque converter driven 6-inch wheel model. It has a 5 horsepower Tecumseh engine. When I got this bike, it had probably been sitting for about 3 decades or more, and it was kind of in a humid environment, so it caused some corrosion and paint loss and stuff. But other than that, it was actually really well preserved. Most of the sprockets have a lot of life left on it. Well, I mean, both of them anyway. It has a disc brake in the back. The caliper was missing when I got this bike, so I actually was able to find a rotary caliper that was a perfect match for it. It works pretty well, but like most disc brake calipers on mini bikes, it does drag some, which is annoying. This bike has, like I said, the torque converter from the factory, which is nice. It was very rusted when I got it, but I was able to clean that up with those Scotch-Brite wheels that you put on a drill, and it actually works really well. It's got a skinnier belt than usual. The belt was so cracked up when I got this bike that I was able to take it to Napa, and they gave me a belt that works pretty well. Another neat thing about this bike is the exhaust. This is the original exhaust, which really needs to be sandblasted and painted, but it comes out into a muffler tip, which is really neat. Which the tip also needs to be blasted and painted before it rusts away. Really like the sound of this with this engine with this exhaust system on it. The original shocks are C-back shocks. I've got them stored away. I've replaced them with these Azusa aftermarket shocks, which are very, very comfortable to ride. They absorb a whole lot more of the shock when you're hitting bumps and stuff. This has a really neat sissy bar on the back. One of the coolest ones, I think. It's nice and wide. Just goes with the frame really well. Here's the Roper logo on the front. This is actually a plate that you can actually pop off if you want to, which is kind of neat. It's got front springs in the forks, and they actually work really well too. The tires were dry rotted, just completely trashed when I got this bike, so I replaced them with these aftermarket Chinese tires. It's pretty much all you can get at this point. I should have painted the wheels while I had the tires off, but this was several years ago, and I was just kind of in a hurry to get it together so I could ride it, I think. This would have had a sticker right here from the factory that said 5 horsepower. And this right here, I think, was for a toolkit or paperwork or something. This might actually be the original spark plug for this bike. I'm not sure about that though. The gas line on this bike comes out the bottom of the tank right there and just kind of hangs down and goes through the blower housing, which is kind of neat. It's just weird seeing such a long fuel line. And I put a shut-off valve here, and this is some extra good quality fuel line that I got. I don't like buying that cheap stuff because it just deteriorates too fast. This is factory air cleaner for Tecumseh. Almost all the old Tecumsehs had it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to save the original carburetor. It was just too corroded from sitting. So I've got a Chinese carburetor on here. It works pretty well. It's a little bit finicky sometimes, but it runs pretty well. This engine doesn't smoke at all. Like I said, it's pretty low hours bike. I think it had fell over at some point before I got it and got a bad bruise on the tank right there. Check out how much meat is left on this sprocket right here. There's hardly any wear on it. I've rode this bike a lot, but I always keep my chains nice and oiled. This one needs to be tightened up a little bit. The throttle was actually broke on this bike when I got it, and so this is what I ended up doing. It's not the best way to do it, but this had snapped off and there was some parts missing right here. So I run a spring right here for a return spring onto this, and I just hooked a go-kart throttle connector to that. It actually works really well. I've been riding this bike around for years now, just enjoying it, and haven't had any trouble out of it. I don't really have a kill switch for it, which is really inconvenient. I usually just take a screwdriver and kill it like that. I had to take the head off of this to do the timing when I got it because the coil had delaminated from water somehow getting down in there, and when I replaced the coil you have to do all the timing. So I'd lost the little kill switch tab right there, and they don't make any aftermarket kill switches for 1-inch bars, so I just haven't got around to doing anything with that yet. The tank was really rusty when I got this. It was very corroded on the inside, so I filled it with apple cider vinegar, and even the cap had a heavy corrosion on it, like that chunky stuff. And it's kind of hard to see down in there, but the tank is pretty clean now, and it stayed that way for a while. Oh, and also this rubber for the fuel cap, kind of hard to see it. It was completely gone when I got this bike, and I ended up taking the rubber gasket off of a Honda gas cap for like a Honda GX 160 or something like that. It was just a cheap aftermarket gas cap, like a $5 gas cap. That gasket fit that perfectly. Before, this thing would just sit here and rattle like crazy. It still does a little bit, but I mean, gas was even coming out when you were riding it down the road. I really like this black stripe down the center. The fenders were really heavily rusted when I got this bike because of this humid environment it was in. And this is actually how well they cleaned up after using some I don't remember exactly what it was. I think I actually wire wheeled the heavy rust off, and then I used a product called Quick Glow or something, and it brought a lot of the shine back. I've got, let's see, these are called Besting grips. These are new old stock from the 70s. They're actually really cheap though on eBay to get a pair. They really feel great on your hand because they have that kind of rounded, you know, right here. This video is getting pretty long, so I guess I'm gonna cut it off. I think I had to replace this. I think that was broken on it, and a new cable. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll be posting more videos soon. I got lots of bikes to make content on, and I love talking about them and sharing them with everybody. And thanks for watching.